What's up, guys? Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. Happy today's Sunday, right? Got to look pretty for the YouTube audience. What's going on, everybody? Let me just push this onto my other channels real quick. I'm going to be starting a new what do you call it? We're doing a poll in a minute. So hold on one second. Hold up. We have so much to talk about today. I'm putting this on my other channel, so hold on one second. Hold on. All right. We're moving. We're rocking and a rolling. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in, everybody. I'm going all in on YouTube if you haven't noticed. Appreciate you guys coming in. I'm starting a poll right now. I'm starting a poll because I did a post today on Eyes Wide and it just kind of blew up. All right, hold on. We're doing a poll right now. Ending of Eyes Wide. Sacrifice Helena. What do you think, guys? Did they sacrifice Helena? Yes or no? What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. My name is Michael. I have a poll running right now and just setting myself up right here. I apologize about the empty bookshelves. I'm moving. So for the people that don't know, I live in New York and I'm moving down to Florida. So my house is an absolute freaking mess. Yes, they did. Richard Legg. Yeah. Yeah, Richard. So really creepy and crazy. Kind of freaked me out. I watched Eyes Wide last 2 nights ago with my son. We started at like 11 o'clock at night, and it was awesome to show it to like a 17-year-old, right? And all of a sudden, I'm seeing the post office mailboxes. You guys can hear me, right? I'm hoping you guys can hear me. I saw the post office mailbox and it said baby on it. It said baby on it. And it was like, no, no, because I don't want to like be the conspiracy theory guy, right? But then we saw the post office mailbox where Bill walks into the hotel, and it's like, all right, I'm going to take it for face value. My son thought it might have said daddy on it. And then we're going into like a few scenes later, and right outside the Rainbow Fashions is the same freaking mailbox. So, guys, look at my poll down below. The ending of Eyes Wide Shut. Did they give up their daughter? Because Kubrick doesn't actively say it, right? He has to show it. Kubrick is the ultimate show don't tell director. Richard says yes, they did. So later on in the film, you see the same post office, the post office mailbox, and Dr. Space Monkey MD, I think the daughter did get sacrificed, just not at the time of the scene, at some point later in life. I buy that, Dr. Space Monkey. I 100% buy that. I didn't believe it. I kind of didn't want to believe it that Bill, Tom Cruise's character would never let that happen, right? And Alice, the peeling back the layers of what Alice is, all of a sudden you're like, this is not the woman who we thought she was, right? Alice from Eyes Wide Shut is not, the domestic housewife, the nice lady, the trophy wife on Bill's arm. There's something so much deeper to this woman. But the post office mailbox freaked me the fuck out. My son is pointing it out. He's saying, I think it says daddy. I'm like, no, that says baby, Baby, right outside the hotel. And then a few scenes later, right outside Milich's shop, it says BABY. 2 votes. Yes, they sacrifice Helena. So then all of a sudden I'm going, all right. The deep dives that I've done for Kubrick, he doesn't do anything, nothing by accident. And I don't want to be the conspiracy theory guy, but then you start realizing baby on a mailbox. Richard says Alice was crying near the end, not because of Bill's confession, as she knows she had to give Helena up. He told, man, it opens it up to an entire new movie. That this is not something that I expected, right? I've done deep dives on Milich's place. I've done deep dives on, Milich being the protective dad and he wasn't. But then even later in the story, when Bill is being followed, stalked, when he's being watched by that creepy bald guy, the mailbox comes up again and it says baby. And I said, they're using the same freaking mailbox. Kubrick is showing us the same mailbox. Chat, I've done this. I've watched this. I've watched this movie dozens of times. I saw this opening weekend in 1999. That's how big of a Kubrick fan I've been my whole life. And never noticed the mailbox, right? Never in a million years did I notice that when Bill walks into the hotel, there's the mailbox that says baby. And then later on in the film, he's outside the Rainbow Fashions. It says baby on the mailbox. And then when he's being stalked, it says baby on the mailbox. Then I say to myself, is it Mandy being pregnant? Right? Could it be Mandy being, Kubrick says that I have a video on that. I have a deep dive on my channel that when Mandy's laying overdosed in the bathroom, when she's like laying kind of a coma and Bill's resurrecting her, there's a painting behind Ziegler. And it's the woman's laying in the same freaking position of Mandy. The same position. And then what's Kubrick saying? Was Mandy pregnant? Probably. Yes, she was probably pregnant. And Ziegler, maybe she told Ziegler, and Ziegler gave her a freaking hot dose. Like Kubrick is showing this to us in plain sight. We have to open our eyes to see this film for what it is. And then once you notice the baby on the post office box and you're going, and then you hear all the conspiracies, right? I've gotten tens of thousands of comments on my channel. They gave the daughter up. They gave the daughter up. They gave the daughter up. I'm like, there's no way. We got one no. We have 6 votes. Ending of Eyes Wide. Did they sacrifice Helena? 5 yeses, 1 no. 5 yeses, 1 no. I didn't want to believe the conspiracy because it's very like, no offense to Joe Rogan. I love Joe Rogan, but it's very Joe Roganish, right? It's very conspiratorial. And I want to focus on the frame. I want to focus what's in the film. I have a deep dive coming out on my YouTube channel in a few weeks about Danny's Apollo sweater. And everyone goes, Kubrick faked the moon landing. Kubrick faked the moon landing. And I don't think that's what that sweater represents. I think that Kubrick was showing the audience that this is the god Apollo's powers, right? And we're going to dive into that. We're going to unpack that the shining sweater, the Apollo sweater that Danny's wearing, he didn't fake the moon landing. Do I believe the moon landing was real? No, but do I believe Kubrick filmed it? Probably not. It's possible. Cody says, I'm the no, and I used to be a deep yes. Cody, curious to know what you think, brother. Cody says, or the painting is representing a pattern. I agree with you. I agree with you. Kubrick never did anything arbitrarily, right? There was nothing that Kubrick just put out and was like, yeah, this is the way it was. Just put this here. I did a deep dive today on I can't believe it's not butter. right? But Cody, drop it down below in the chat what you think. Why don't you think they sacrificed Helena? Because I've been in your camp for the last 26 years. They didn't give up the kid. They didn't sacrifice Helena. There's no way. Bill would have never let it happen. I genuinely believe they loved their daughter. But then you see the baby on the post office mailbox and it comes up 3 times. That's no coincidence. Dr. Space Monkey says, you see some of the same actors from the cult party at the toy store. I know they just reused extras, but it does illuminate something to me. I agree with you, Dr. Space Monkey. I really do. These people have been and will continue to be all around him. I agree with you. Richard says Kubrick's subliminal message, baby being shown as displayed in Bill's material world, Alice's world on another level. Genius, dude. Richard, genius, bro. Absolutely freaking genius. How did I not notice the baby on the post office mailbox? How? I've seen this movie so many freaking times. I'm watching it with my son, and all of a sudden I see baby on the post office. I'm like, it's probably Mandy delivering a baby or doctors delivering a baby. Something about and I'm going, you can't accept a baby in a post office mailbox. You can't accept mail in a post office mailbox. You put something in, you surrender it, and you walk away. What is the only scene in this genius film that has someone giving something away, right? They gave away the password. They gave away Mandy's soul. They gave away so many different things in Eyes Wide Shut. Did they give up their daughter at the end of the film? I don't want to believe that they did, but I think Kubrick is showing us that they did. And it freaks me the fuck out. It freaks me out that what was Kubrick showing us? I mean, the cult party was cool, right? The elite, they were just, banging each other left and right, right? But what was he showing us with sacrificing the kid? Right? We have 7 votes in. This is crazy. This is my 3rd live, by the way, guys. I'm grateful for all of you joining me, and I'm grateful for everyone watching after the fact. I really appreciate it. I'm really going all in on YouTube. I started posting more, and my Instagram fam is following me. Love you guys to pieces. Guys, drop your comments down below in the chat. Was Helena sacrificed? Right? Was she sacrificed in Eyes Wide Shut? I don't want to believe it. I don't want to believe that the world could be that fucked up. That this supposed loving couple gave up their daughter at the end. But Kubrick's not lying. He's not. He doesn't. He's dropping clues for us. And the clues are that they're delivering a baby somewhere. Now, could it mean that Mandy was pregnant and a baby was going to be delivered? Very possible. Very possible. I do believe that painting that was above her in the bathroom when she had the OD, when she overdosed, I do believe that Mandy, there was some representation of pregnancy there. What do you guys think below? You know what? I'm going to end this poll right now. I'm going to start a new poll. That was a good poll, guys. That was a good poll. I'm going to drop another poll right now. Cody L. Martin says, I think Kubrick makes the movie you see, but also adds so many layers. I agree with that 100%, Cody. Like the way he dissolves, but his layers allow you to project the story the way you want to tell yourself. You know who's a master at that is Tarantino. Also, the way Tarantino had the suitcase in Pulp Fiction, he said it so brilliantly. He said the suitcase in Pulp Fiction is your movie. And good storytellers will put something in there to make it your movie. I'm doing another poll right now. Stay right here. Eyes Wide Shut. Was Mandy pregnant? Starting the poll. No. Cody, that was probably you, right, bro? I guess the genius you know, Nolan also does subliminal stuff, right? Nolan is also the guy who's like, you know, subjective. And I did a post on the Joker scars where the Joker I knew it was you, Cody. I appreciate you because I never thought Mandy was pregnant. I never in a million years could have thought that. Dr. Space Monkey says, I always noticed the way Kubrick lights and frames Christmas trees and Christmas lights in the background of Bill's Descent and the Toy Story. The chat, the votes are going crazy right now. This is awesome. Bill's Descent and the toy store is lit almost exclusively for Christmas. I've noticed a lot of red and green colors throughout the entire film. And I believe it's more of like right, Kubrick was using Christmas lights, there's no doubt, but it could be like a traffic pattern, right? That red, green, right? Stop, go. They're in scenes that are so relevant. They're just not placed randomly. And Kubrick was showing us who has to stop, but who's allowed to go. I mean, Nick's playing the piano, the organ, whatever the hell that was, in the mansion. And right next to him, or the other way, right next to him is red and green flashing lights. I feel like this is a traffic pattern system that Kubrick was showing us. Richard said Victor's picture in the bathroom suggests pregnant clue. Yes. That's why I believe Cody, red and green are complementary colors. Balance. But was the film balanced? I see what you're saying, Cody. You could be 100% right. Was Eyes Wide Shut a balance? I feel like once Alice dropped the bomb on Bill, there was no balance. His life was completely swung, the pendulum swung all the way to one way, right? He had a normal existence. He had a normal life. Bill had a loving wife, a loving, partner. They were normal. They were going, they were reading to their kid at night. And then she says, I had a fantasy about a naval officer. I don't think there's balance there. Cody says it's a movie about getting to balance. You know what I love about this, Cody, is that my channel, all opinions are welcome. And a lot of people disagree with me. And I'm not looking for yes men. Yes, people. I'm not looking for yes men. I'm looking for people. I'm looking for people's opinions. Richard says Mandy's redemption from Bill at the party is balance demonstrated. It's brilliant, dude. I she tried to balance out what they were going to do to Bill on Bill's journey. Right? Right? Dr. Space Monkey says, it almost feels like when Bill breaks down to Alice, he lets go of any balance he had. I love this chat. Cody, Bill's redemption occurs at the toy store. Cody, he's wearing red. And I'm going to do a deep dive on that. Bill Harford is wearing a red sweater. He's wearing a red sweater when he's walking with Alice through the toy store. And was also scary, also, I noticed, is that Helena was wearing blue at some point in the movie, and the post office mailbox was blue. Man, I gotta connect that better. Because the blue was on the outside of the mansion, right? When Bill and Mandy when Mandy was, like, pushing him into corners saying, "You have to get out of here. You have to get out of here." Bill, on the outside of it was these really deep blue colors. So I'm starting to believe that Helena, the daughter, was kind of being primed for the mansion. I got some yeses. Was Mandy pregnant? I feel like she was. I feel like Kubrick wouldn't have just had her. Cody, someone once suggested blue represented the moon and red represents the sun. Sun versus the moon is a thing. It certainly is. It 100% is. I think that's like Hecate energy, right? If you want to go into a cult. Cody for womanhood. Oh, maybe. Red for, the Crimson Tide for getting into womanhood. Yeah, I'll buy that. I'll buy that. Cody, you're awesome, dude. Richard, you're awesome. Thank you so much for being here, guys. Thank you guys for everyone in the chat. My name is Michael. You all know me. I'm not going to repeat myself. Deep question, says Richard. Does Alice know she is Ishtar in the highest form throughout the movie? She behaves like she is. Richard, I'm going to drop that poll right now. I'm going to drop that poll. It's a phenomenal question. Stay right here. Was Alice Ishtar? I have a different version of Alice. Starting the poll right now. Was Alice Ishtar? So I study occult lore. I normally have occult books behind me, movie books, occult books. I don't practice. I just love it. I'm so fascinated by the Kabbalah, ancient religions. What was life like before, Jesus and Christmas, right? And once you study the ancient religions and magic with a K, you realize that like the masters, the film, the directors, they put all this occult lore in their films, and you guys gotta have to kind of peel away those layers. Man, the chat is crazy right now. This is awesome. These votes are I'm at 50% right now, guys. Kind of need a tiebreaker here. Was Alice Ishtar? I believe that Alice was Lilith. Cody L. Martin says, I believe Ishtar had a sister that she to the underworld. I think she led to the underworld, right? There's no story for Alice like that. I think Alice is more Lilith energy. I think she runs more in the Lilith circle because hear me out. Hear me out. The story of Adam and Eve was bullshit, right? When you go into occult lore, Has Been Hotel got this right. That really cool show, Has Been Hotel. Well, I mean, some people like it and some people don't. But Has Been Hotel went into it that Adam was first married to Lilith, not Eve. And that is true according to the Kabbalah and ancient religion. So Alice was married to, I'm sorry, Adam was married to Lilith before Eve. Adam was married to Lilith. And Lilith wanted her own kind of version, her own journey. So she broke apart from Adam to start her own thing. And she was demonized. So what did Adam do? He married Eve instead. But Lilith was the first female, if you will. And if you look at the parallels between Alice and Eyes Wide Shut and Lilith, they they run parallel. You have this version of this person in your mind. Cody, didn't Lilith kill children? Yeah. Killing kids out of vengeance? Yeah, that's part of the lore. We're 50-50 here. Was Alice Ishtar? I feel like I want to run like a was Alice Lilith post. Was Alice Lilith post. So Lilith fair, woman independence, right? That's what Lilith represents. She was the perfect wife for good old Bill, right? She was this loving, wonderful mother, wonderful wife. She was even flirting with Sandor, but she didn't do anything with him. And then when Bill's like, women don't think like that. And then she drops the bomb. She drops that freaking bomb on Bill that she had a fantasy about another man. And it's like, this is Lilith energy. This is independence energy. This is, I'm not what you want me to believe. And that's the story of Eyes Wide Shut. You could be married to someone, but you have no idea who that person is. You could be best friends with someone and you have no idea who that person is. You don't know what those fantasies are. You don't know that person's past. That's the genius of Eyes Wide Shut. Cody says, I think this version of Lilith is too modern for Kubrick. I don't know, bro. Again, Cody, I appreciate the feedback. See what exactly, Cody? Closer to Lilith than Ishtar. Ishtar to me was different energy for Alice. All right, so let me drop another poll. We're at 50-50 split. Richard says, is Alice physically moving where Bill doesn't? Yeah, I do. I believe it. Bathroom clues and her being one step ahead of Bill. Revealing the mask, avoidance of Nick Nightingale from her past, rejection of Sandor. Yes, 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 Richard. Yes, across the board. 1000%. Ishtar is the group. Exactly. Ishtar is an 8-pointed star, and it's the 8 characters of the film. Alice is repulsed by the party because I feel like she's been there. She walks in all over it. She doesn't want to be there. And when she even asks Bill, do you know anyone here? And Bill says, not a soul. It's obvious. Neither of them want to be there. He was doing house calls for the elite. Cody, I said that before you did, brother. I said that I think she was there a decade ago. That she was part of that cabal, if you will. You know, you don't know who you marry. You don't know the past of someone. And when Alice drops that bomb, that's Lilith energy. I need one more vote to know, was Alice Ishtar energy? I feel like it was the group, right? I feel like Ishtar was the group. Bill had Ishtar energy. He was descending into hell. Alice had Ishtar energy. Mandy had Ishtar energy. She was the sacrifice. I'm ending this poll. I'm starting a new one. Don't go anywhere. Hold on. I'm starting a new poll right now. All right, let's see what the chat says. Was Alice Lilith energy? Do I put a comma there? Was Alice? I'm going to put a quote around Lilith because it looks like, was Alice Lilith energy? Starting a new poll. Was Alice Lilith energy? I think she was. We got one yes. We got one yes. I think she was because Lilith represents Lilith the demon, the daemon represents independent energy. It represents someone who doesn't play by anyone else's rules. That's Alice. Cody says, but I like your characterization of her being a high priestess. Yes, we're going to get into that. Not of the cult of whatever, but to Bill at the end, he is there begging her for more. 100%, Cody. Like 100%. Richard, is Alice aware of who she is? 100%. The deeper spiritual meaning of the high priestess is someone that is sitting in front of ancient knowledge. She's guarding that cloth in the back, if you will, that cloth of the pomegranates, a garden of pomegranates. And if you read, I think it was Edward Arthur Waite or Arthur Edward Waite. If you read Israel Regardie, real phenomenal books, and they were all here. But again, I'm moving, so I don't have those books by me. But if you read A Garden of Pomegranates, if you read the ancient Kabbalistic texts, it's this woman, the high priestess. She's sitting on a stone thing between two columns, Boaz and Yakin. And I don't think I'm pronouncing it right. I just call it Yakin. That's what YouTube told me to pronounce. Boaz and Yakin are the pillars that she stands in between. Those are the pillars to Solomon's temple. And when you pass Through that wisdom, you pass through the high priestess, you gain the knowledge. The high priestess already has that knowledge. 4 votes for yes. Alice Lilith energy. That's a blowout, guys. That's an absolute freaking blowout right there. Alice is 100% Lilith energy. I did a deep dive on that a while ago, a couple months ago, that Alice was Lilith incarnate. She wasn't, I mean, at the end, she sacrifice her daughter? Seeing the baby on the post office mailbox. Yeah. Cody says Alice just wants to educate Bill. We got one no. But educate Bill about what, Cody? I feel like she knows who she is. Educating him and saying, "Yeah, I have deep thoughts." All right. Is that educating someone? Yeah. Is it mentally mind fucking them? Yeah. But is that education too? Dr. Space Monkey says, I always thought it was interesting how comfortable she gets flirting with the guy at Ziegler's. Hate that guy. So quickly, yes, she knew what she was doing. Very close contact with a rich elite similar to the masked woman at the party. 100%. I That's not a stretch, Space Monkey. She's comfortable flirting with him. I mean, it made me uncomfortable, right? Like, imagine that's your wife, dude. And she's at this elite party, and she starts dancing with the guy. What is that saying to Bill? You know? Is she comfortable? And what was crazy is Bill left, but she didn't see him with those 2 other girls, 2 other women when until she started dancing with Sandor. So she kinda made the first move when he says, "I'd like to dance with you." Is dancing harmless? Yeah. Would I want my wife dancing with another man? No. Cody says, fun fact, Sandor is a Hungarian composer who worked on 2001 and Eyes Wide. I actually didn't know that, Cody. Cody, you're just a wealth of knowledge, brother. It's incredible. I had no idea. It's very cool to know. I haven't seen that actor or anything else. I think his name is Sky Dumont or something. I mean, Eyes Wide Shut was Alice Lilith energy. That poll, I mean, we have 4 yeses, 1 no. Interesting. The name Sandor, the actor is Argentinian, I think. I don't know about that. Sky Dumont, that sounds French to me. Richard, Alice looked pleased with Bill, with Windsor and other girl. I think her name was Nuala, but freaked when Nick was there. I know. I know. What do you think that was about? New poll. New poll. Eyes wide shut. Did Alice know Nick? Did Alice know Nick? Starting poll right now. We have more in the chat. Alice looked pleased with Bill with Windsor. Got that. Look him up. Cody, I will. I could have swore he was French, but I never said I knew everything. Dr. Space Monkey MD says, that's really interesting, Cody. I didn't know that. I really only know Leon Vitali was Red Cloak. Yes. Cody says, Sandor made the song in Eyes Wide Shut that you hear when he's being stalked. Huh. Richard says, she did. Look at her expression. This is split down the middle, guys. This is 50-50. 50% of you say she did know Nick. 50% say no. I feel like I'm going to be the tiebreaker and say, I don't think she knew Nick. Did Bill ever mention Nick to her in their marriage? I don't think so. Richard says Nick would expose her past. Her face had fear. I did notice that. I definitely noticed that. What would let's do a what if. What would Nick Nightingale say to Alice? Richard, I agree with you. I agree. She wanted to go to the toilet as soon as she saw him. But I have a post on that. She did a few times where she goes, I'm going to the, she says, I'm going to the bathroom. And she just went to the bathroom right before they went to the party. And then later in the, when Nick was, oh no, I'm sorry, when Bill was in Domino's apartment, she calls him and she says, I'm going to bed, but we never see it. Cody says, I think she knew what was happening to Bill that night. Hello, Hallie and welcome to the chat. All right, so we just edged out. Did Alice know Nick? There's 4 yeses. I don't know. She did look kind of weird, but she was also Alice was freaked out, if you will. Cody, my wife saw me talking to 2 models. She would come over and interrupt it. My wife would pull me by my ear away from if I was talking to 2 supermodels. She wouldn't. But first of all, I wouldn't be talking to 2 supermodels, right? I would like kind of have my wife around to know that I'm taken. Cody says Alice with Sandor was just how it used to be with Alice. I agree with that. She was acting a little flirty, and their faces were close, like 100% close. Guys, welcome into the chat. Appreciate you guys joining us tonight. We're having a eyes wide shut polling. We're doing eyes wide shut polling. Did Alice Harford know Nick Nightingale? Drop a vote down below. Space Monkey says the 2 models almost lure Bill away as Sandor dances with Alice. I know. Really crazy. But I did notice this. I'm going to do a deep dive in this. Guys, if you could like and follow, I'd really appreciate it. I don't want to interrupt what we're talking about here. This is a really great, loving conversation about Eyes Wide. But if you guys can like and follow me, I'd really, really appreciate it. Nick is talking to those 2 hotties, and they're both one's wearing a red dress, one's wearing a green dress, right? We have red and green again. And I think her name was Nuala. The one with the brown hair, the brunette, smoking. She was a knockout. The other one was super hot too. But then they say we'd like to let's go over the rainbow, right? Let's go to the end of the rainbow. Nuala Windsor, make art not war. I freaking love your name, by the way. That's like one of the greatest names in the history of names on social media. Love your name. Thank you. Welcome in, make art not war. And that should be plastered everywhere. Nuala Windsor, right. She tells Bill, let's go over the rainbow. Or maybe it was the one in green, right? Someone said, let's go over the rainbow, or let's go to the rainbow, where the rainbow ends. Rainbow is a Kabbalah map, 1,000%, Richard. Oh my freaking God. Make art not war says thanks, as in the Windsor family in the UK. Does she say Windsor? Does she say that? Does she say Nuala Windsor? I just heard Nuala. She says Nuala Windsor. This is why I love my chat right now. She freaking says Nuala Windsor. Later in the ball, make art not war. Her friend said her last name, Nuala Windsor. Windsor was said. Okay. She was part of the Windsor family, the ultra elite. Holy shit. I didn't put that together. I did not put that freaking name together. Thank you guys. Cody, Richard, make art not war. Everyone in the chat, Space Monkey, thank you guys. All right, I'm going to start a new poll with Nuala. Suck on that. Suck on that poll, guys. Was Nuala royalty? Definitely, Cody. And then the Toller model mentioned Rockefeller Plaza. I didn't hear that. I was too busy looking at them with my son. Anyway, Nuala Windsor. Guys, if you could like, follow, and share and subscribe to my channel, I'd really appreciate it. Guys, we're talking Eyes Wide Shut. It's the Eyes Wide Shut hour. Rusty's freaking out right now. I'm freaking out too. 2 votes to yes. Oh my freaking God. Cody says when she had something in her eye. She had all of Rockefeller Plaza inside her. No, she says I had all of Fifth Avenue inside me. Yes, Richard. There was a woman who was I think it's Carl in the tricorn hat, right? In that V-shaped hat. I think that's Carl and Marion on the balcony. And if you've seen my deep dives, you would know that I believe Carl and Marion were at the party. And Carl knows that's Bill, or it's a new guy. I think they all know it's Bill. He brings a woman over to him, who looks just like Nuala. It's got the same shaped hair, same shape, and she's wearing a piano mask. Richard, absolutely. Cody says, yeah, I agree. What did they say that I know that the second girl says I had something in my eye and I think she said I had all of Fifth Avenue inside me, or all of Fifth Avenue. Bros, sisters, I got to do another deep dive onto that. They were royalty. They were all fucking each other's brains out. I can curse on here, right? We're on YouTube Live, right? Live number 3, guys. I appreciate you guys joining me in. I really am grateful. I'm just starting out here. You guys are getting in on the ground floor for Michael's Movie Lounge. 4 votes all said yes. Nuala was royalty. She says I had all of Fifth Avenue in me. Those 2 girls, those 2 women, I call them girls, I shouldn't. Helena was a girl. Those 2 women who were taking Bill. So here's my story. In her eye, yes, I could see it, says Space Monkey. I could see it actually. Nuala at the mansion had a piano around her mask. I definitely think that was her. But when Bill, back in Ziegler's party, when Bill is with Nuala and the Fifth Avenue girl, Bill says he gets called away because Mandy's having an overdose in the bathroom. Bill says to be continued. So he was going to see them again at the mansion, and he knew it subconsciously. And the fact that my chat dropped down that they said she was a Windsor. She was top tier fucking elite. Richard says it's subjective by Kubrick. Yeah, suggestive by Kubrick. 100%. Was Nuala royalty? Guys, we got more people in the chat. Guys, welcome into my channel. Thrilled to have you guys in. Really appreciate you guys. I'm moving. That's why my shelves are empty. I normally have books behind me, but no books. Cody says, one that always sits with me is their face when he has to go see Z. Yeah. What were they trying to do with him besides fuck him? Obviously. What was Nuala and Mrs. Fifth Avenue? I mean, they weren't prostitutes, right? Nuala wasn't a prostitute. Am I right? They were really disappointed that Bill had to go and help out Ziegler and Mandy. We'll kind of revive Mandy. And I have a deep dive coming on that on my YouTube channel that Mandy, Eyes Wide Shut is a Gnostic awakening. And Gnosticism is, when someone dies, they have to get reborn. Like Sophia Wisdom, they have to sacrifice their life for someone else to see. That's Kabbalah. That's Gnosticism and Kabbalah. Cody says, one that always okay, if you freeze frame that scene, he was a mark and they failed. Bro, Cody, you gotta start your own YouTube channel, bro. You're unbelievable. Exactly, yes. Richard, no, Windsor, etcetera, are high-end honey traps. That's the look. Windsor but so is there am I missing something here that Windsor is a high-end honey trap? Like a high-end prostitute? Or am I thinking of Windsor royalty? Drop it in the chat. Because I don't know if we're on the same page here. That's the look. It's a Windsor look. Luring Bill. Got it. Windsor royalty using their people. Yes, Cody. Yes. Royalty does not mean free. No, I agree with that. I'm starting a new poll. Guys, welcome in. Welcome into the chat. We got more and more people coming in here. I'm loving this, guys. This is my happy place right now. Was New Orleans Fifth Ave girl gonna mark Bill? Or were they gonna steal his kidney? Cody says it's a cult of utility. Interesting. Richard Leggy says, not always doing the deed, but the lure. The lure into what though? The lure into the cult? End of the rainbow. Nuala Windsor. What was at the end of the rainbow though? What was at the end of the rainbow? And he was kind of Mandy. Oh my God, Mandy saved him twice. Mandy saved Bill twice. First time when she overdosed, and the second time when she sacrificed herself at the mansion. All yeses for was New Orleans the Fifth Avenue girl gonna mark Bill? All yeses. I feel like I have to rewatch that scene again. She says Fifth Avenue, right? Not she didn't have all of Rockefeller Plaza. I think she says I had all of Fifth Avenue in me. And I just call her the Fifth Avenue girl because I think that's what she said. But Nuala Windsor, I got to go deeper into that, guys. This is why I love talking to my movie army. You guys are unbelievable. You guys are the movie freaking army. You guys are opening my eyes. You think that you could just read a book and understand something so insane like Eyes Wide Shut, and then you get these. Cody says, yes. Make Art Not War says, yes. I did just about half of Fifth Avenue. I could have swore it was Fifth Avenue. I could have swore she said Fifth Avenue. That's the quote. She was banging all of Fifth Avenue. When she said I had all half of Fifth Avenue in me, she was in every elite's bedroom on Fifth Avenue. That Fifth Avenue girl, and she was in green. She was in green, and I think Nuala was in red. Richard says suggests she's a busy girl, to say the least. But were they prostitutes? Were those two? This is a new poll. I mean, everyone knows they were gonna mark Bill, but hold on. I have a new poll. I got a new poll. I want to know from the chat. Hold on. Not was, were. I was an English major too. Were Nuala and Fifth Avenue girl prostitutes. Yes, they had to do their duty. They served the cause. Vote. Vote down. No, I'm getting no's here also. More no's. And I spelled prostitutes wrong. Forgive me. It's not a word I have to spell every day. We're talking more no's here, guys. I'm very surprised. So they were just elite. Nuala and Fifth Avenue girl were elite that just wanted to kind of suck Bill into this cult. If Bill went with them, Richard says, what would then happen? I feel like they just wanted to fuck, right? Am I looking at it too surfacey here? Am I looking at it in the wrong way here? Because I feel like exactly, right? I thought they were just gonna bang, right? But why him? No? Cody, Richard, why would those two want someone like Bill? Well, I mean, it's a good looking guy, right? What was the point of that though? He's being initiated into the elite circle. They wanted to initiate Bill in the elite circle. Yes, Cody, you're awesome, dude. Cody, thank you. That's exactly right. They could have come off as high-end call girls. I gotta tell you a quick story. W Alice, the all-knowing, has the magician. You mean Bill? Because to me, Alice was the high priestess. And people were saying that Ziegler was the magician, and I disagree. I think Bill's the magician. He's using the physical to try and make sense of things. There Milich plus Lily, Ziegler plus Alice. I don't follow, Cody. You're saying that Ziegler and Alice were a thing? I thought that because they both played tennis. Mirrored. So you think Ziegler was trying to get Alice away from Bill? That's a fucking conspiracy theory if I've heard one. No, Ziegler was pimping Alice at some point. Oh my god. That's how they knew each other. You think Ziegler put Alice on Bill? What I found weird is when Ziegler said that his tennis elbow hurt him, right? Hear me out. He says it at the party. Rewind it to the first scene, and Alice has 2 tennis rackets in front of her. Bill doesn't play tennis. Was Ziegler and Alice playing tennis together? Bill plays golf, like me. We know Ziegler's not faithful. He's banging Mandy in the bathroom, so they say. You don't even see the drugs there. She was shooting up. Cody says, how else is that expensive apartment with no signs of Bill? How else is she in that expensive apartment with no signs of Bill? She said she worked for an art museum, Alice, or she actually was just getting laid off from the art museum. I think the scene predates Bill by years. So you think that Alice and Ziegler were living together? Make Art Not War 2023 says when Bill enters the changing room, there are golf clubs in place of the tennis rackets. The columns were their apartment, though, guys. Right, she ran an art gallery in Soho, Make Art Not War, but I think she was it was closing. Cody Martin says her apartment, tennis rackets and Ziegler's tennis issue. I know, I saw that. Bill lives in her apartment. He moved in with her. I don't know. It failed. I don't know. I don't know about that. The tennis rackets made me think that her and Ziegler had a thing, right? And then Sandor says while they're dancing that a woman wanted to lose her virginity so she could sleep with anyone after they were married. Cody says the apartment doesn't look like a man lives there. I know, but I mean, they were married 9 years. Alice and Bill, they were married 9 years. You guys are blowing my fucking mind. All right, I'm starting a new poll. You guys are blowing my fucking mind. This is nuts. I'm starting a new poll right now. Eyes wide shut. This is so much fun. Eyes wide shut. Did Alice bang Ziegler before she married Bill? Answer this, fellas, boys and girls. First scene is definitely sometime before Bill was on the scene. Possible. I don't disagree. And a doctor at Bill's age has no money. He was a pretty big deal, though. He had an office in the city. He was driving a Range Rover, guys. The apartment was based on Kubrick's own residence. Bill is what, 5 to 10 years out of residency? How old was Bill at the time? He was in his 40s? Sure, but his client was Ziegler's client list. You guys are blowing my mind. 4 votes said Alice banged Ziegler before she married Bill. I got some yeses. In his 30s? Possible? Richard says, "How did Alice become more free from Ziegler?" Right. And Ziegler knew Bill by saying, "You do my house calls." Dr. Space Monkey says, "I don't know if they ever hooked up, but still doesn't mean Ziegler didn't know her prior. He's got some serious reach as his status." I don't disagree with that, Space Monkey. Cody Martin says, Helena. Helena is Ziegler's. I don't know. I don't want to believe it. He says a line, Bill. Bill says a line in the Bill says a line in the film where he says, "That's why I married you." And I think he says it's why we had Helena. So I do believe Helena was his. Yeah, he does. What was crazy is Ziegler points to Alice. If you all notice that, I have that in a few of my videos. Ziegler points to Alice when they first meet. Now, when Ziegler points, he's asserting dominance. Yes. All right, riddle me this. Riddle me this. Hear me out. You're all dropping bombs here. Compositor Sao Paulo, what's up, dude? Good evening. Nice to see you in live now talking about Eyes Wide. Yeah, dude, welcome into the chat. Compositor Sao Paulo. Richard said Ziegler's pointing is authoritative. 100%. Hear me out. Hear me out. You all said that Alice was freaked the fuck out over Nick and that she got all freaked out over Nick, but she didn't get freaked out over Ziegler. Answer. If she knew, did she trust Ziegler more? Did she not trust Nick? Nick was always going blindfolded. Cody says Ziegler's wife's name is a form or version of Helena. What was the wife's name? Ziegler's in charge. Nick's unpredictable. but Nick was blindfolded at all the parties. See, he couldn't have seen Alice unless Alice had a thing with Nick. Ilana. Cody, you're a legend, bro. Alana, Helena. Possible? Very possible. She was wearing white pearls too. That's another thing. And I'm going to be doing a deep dive onto that very soon. The white pearls, those circular white balls are showing up everywhere in this fucking movie. Space Monkey said, "Did they ever mention how long Nick had been playing for the elite party at Ziegler's recommendation?" I don't think so. Cody Martin says, "No, it's a legit version of Helena." Possible? Yes. Richard, Nick knows some things. He's a stooge, not disciplined. Yeah, and he gave the password out really quickly. Like, he could have told those elite fuckers when they called him, "I can't give this now." Cody, I believe you, brother. Alana is a Hungarian name. Google it. It's Greek origin. Helen, Helena, Elena, Helena, Eleanor. You guys are blowing my mind. You guys are blowing my freaking mind. All right, I'm dropping a new poll. This is getting so fucking guys. Can you like this chat? Get more people in here. I'd really appreciate it. Like, share, and follow the chat. Eyes wide shut. Was Helena Ziegler's daughter? Make Art Not War says, in Hungarian folklore, Ilana is the traditional name of the queen of the fairies. Love that. I love fairy magic. A mythical figure associated with beauty and enchantment. Interesting. She's wearing this massive pearl necklace. Alice has pearl earrings. Mandy has a pearl ring. And the orbs, those globes are throughout the entire fucking movie. They're throughout all of Eyes Wide Shut. Make Art Not War says, okay, we read that. Cody, you've mentioned that Alice, Domino, Helena, Mandy, Lily, I call her because that's her real name. They're all in the same thread. I agree with that. They can't be the same thread without Ziegler's link. Ziegler doesn't have a link to Lily and the shop owner. I don't see that. I just don't see Ziegler having that link to them. Milich? Did Ziegler get his costume at Milich's? It's never really. There's no clues for that. Rainbow? When does Ziegler talk about the rainbow? I mean, we're circling back to Nuala now. Nuala is saying we'll see you at the end of the rainbow. We'll take it to the end of the rainbow. Was Ziegler connected to Lou Nathanson or Marion or Carl? I don't think so. Was Helena Ziegler's daughter? And I'm getting a lot of no's here, and I kind of agree with that. Bill goes there because it was an old patient, right? But was he connected? Also, in the hospital, when Bill's in the hospital where he visits Mandy's corpse, he walks past plaques of the hospital donors, if you will. And those donors, I can't make out their names, but I feel like I have to pause it and kind of like zoom in to see, is Ziegler's name on there? Is Lou Nathanson's name on there? Marion, is Alice's name on there? Is Bill's name on there? Richard says Milich not high up to be at elite parties. Exactly. So how would Ziegler be connected to him? I don't see it. I truly don't see it. And I know Ziegler's connected to a lot. Like Ziegler and Mandy, if you were gonna tell me that Mandy was carrying Ziegler's baby, I would say yes. Like 100%. He shows it, Kubrick, with the painting. Cody says, "Yeah, but these groups have people under them that facilitate." I don't know. He went to he went to Rainbow Fashions, and the guy that owned it, I think his name was Genting, moved to Chicago. He's here for Peter Genting, who owned Rainbow Fashions. Do you guys remember that? And then Millich comes out and he takes over. Compositor. The movie also contrasts night when it begins and day, dreaming and awareness, darkness and light, but they're connected just as happens in our psyche. 100%, dude. 100% compositor. Peter Grenning. Right. I knew it was a Enning. Yeah. Peter Grenning. Make art, not war. Thank you. Who the fuck was Peter Grenning? Yeah, Cody. Who the fuck was Peter Grenning? He owned the costume shop. Bill says that he was this is something even crazier. Bill says, he was an old patient of his, Peter Grenning. But if you look, if you notice, Make Art Not War says, and what happened to him, Millich says he moved to Chicago. Millich says he moved to Chicago. Fine. Take it at face value. But if you watch Bill, behind Bill, it said Eros in a window. And I had my son look up what Eros meant. I kind of knew what Eros meant, but it's Greek mythology. It's sexuality, the god of, I think, sex. Was Peter Grenning involved in the cult? Was Peter Grenning part of the cult? I don't know. Were all of Bill's patients part of the cult? I remember he was like kind of like looking after. She was like a really hot woman, and he was like touching her and everything. Was she there? Were all Bill was also like touching a little boy with the oath behind him, right? I did a deep dive on that. Cody says, I'm currently thinking all of Bill's patients were in the cult. I just said that, Cody. Yes. You pointed out the oath on the poster. Yes. Now there was a little boy that he and the mother was behind him. Cody, there's no reason for that patient to be topless to hearing a heartbeat. I agree. Yes, Cody. Right in line. Was the mother of the little boy part of the cult? This shit goes so fucking deep. Cody, Moloch, child sacrifice. Yes. Make art, not war. That was Kubrick's daughter with the boy. I actually didn't know that. Right. Cody says Kubrick lets you project on what you want to see. Right. This has been like the best live I've ever done. My brother and I had a podcast and it was slowly disbanded because we got busy with other stuff. And I got to tell you, I'm going live now on YouTube. You guys are phenomenal. I'm going to be live every night. I'm going to try to be. But you guys are absolutely amazing. I appreciate Cody, Make Art Not War. Thank you, thank you, thank you guys. You guys are amazing for sitting here and having a movie conversation. This is what Michael's Movie Lounge is all about. Cody Martin says, I think Ziegler needs a doctor and Alice provided one. You're crazy, Cody. You're one big walking conspiracy theory, and I freaking love it. Richard says Bill walks in half made up in his dream state. Possible? But was it a dream? Yeah, Cody, I'm same. I saw Eyes Wide Shut opening weekend, and I've watched it continuously throughout the years. I remember I was on a date, and I remember going with this girl to see Eyes Wide Shut, and I was a little embarrassed. Yeah, Make Art Not War. Yeah, opening weekend. I'm obsessed with Kubrick. I wasn't able to see Clockwork Orange in the theater because I was too young, you know? I don't think I was even born yet. And Full Metal Jacket, my mom and dad would have never let me see Full Metal Jacket in the theater when I was a kid. Doctor Space Monkey. Oh, Kid Cody, yes, it grows on you 100%. Space Monkey, have you ever heard theory on the movie as a whole being a way for Kubrick to send a message to his daughter who had joined Scientology and didn't talk to him anymore? No. No, I did not hear that. But I mean, Tom Cruise was a Scientologist. But no, I didn't hear that theory. I try to keep it in the frame. Not today because fricking the baby on the post office mailbox was all over the place in 3 different scenes. Compositor, has anyone read the book it was adapted from? I haven't. It was like Trauma Nouvelle or something. It's a good read, not so long and worth the time. Traum Nouvelle, right, in German. I don't remember the title in English. Cody says, I think there was a strong signal at the end of the scene. The daughter walking away could be that space. Dream story. Make art, not war. Possible, but I started this chat with, did they sacrifice the daughter? And I think they did. And I don't want to be that conspiracy theory guy, but I think they did. And Kubrick was showing it where the baby was spray painted on the post office mailbox. They were delivering their child. And it like sickens me, right? I'm ending that poll. Ooh. This is exciting. This is fun. Cody says, okay, let's say they did. Doesn't that imply that Alice is involved? I don't think anyone knows who Alice really is. Richard, the mask left at the party, taken from cupboard by Alice or given by Elite. No, no, I think Bill had the mask on him and he put it in the cupboard. And Alice took it out of the cupboard because she doesn't trust him. She doesn't trust him. She knew it. I don't think the Elite broke into the house. He had, he put it in the cupboard in a bag with the cape. And then he went to Millich and Millich says, where's the mask? And he says, I just put it on my bill. I must have left it somewhere. Alice took out that mask from the cupboard. I don't think the Elite broke into his house. I love a good conspiracy theory, but I don't think that was ever the case. Cody says, I think they called her. Hmm. Maybe. She was in on it. Maybe, Cody. Make Art Not War. Has anyone seen the 1969 Austrian TV film version? No. No, I haven't. This was a phenomenal chat, guys. This was amazing. I'm going to be trying to go live every night. Cody, I think you say Helena was sacrificed. You are selecting a narrative and you got to complete the story of how that came to be. Yeah. Richard, Alice was informed one way or another about Bill and the party. She doesn't react when he tells her. It's the next day she's crying. Compositor, a very good movie is so. Its readings never end and it continues stirring our imagination. I'm probably going to buy it, Trom Nouvelle. Is it available on Amazon? Well, I'll probably just buy it there. I normally have 5,000 books, but I'm moving, so I have no room for, everything's packed away. I don't want to buy new books. Make Art Not War. It's on YouTube. Oh, then I'll watch it there then. I'll, read it there. Richard, she's crying. She has to give up Helena. Richard, that's good. Compositor, make art, not war. I've seen some cuts of the version the other day. Interesting. The Austrian TV version? I gotta check it out. If it's a TV show, I'm not gonna watch it because I don't watch TV. I don't like TV. Never liked TV. Cody says it, but if that's true, wouldn't you spend your last day with her differently? Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. It's a great angles, guys. Phenomenal angles, guys. That just awesome across the board. You guys are incredible. So I'm gonna be trying to go live every night at 7 PM. Okay. This is Michael's Movie Lounge. I'm inviting everyone on my Instagram, everyone on my TikTok. Where have you guys been following me? On my YouTube. Where have you guys been following me? Just out of curiosity, so I know. Alice Indoctrinated, she knows what needs to be done. Yeah. YouTube and Insta. Thank you, Cody. Appreciate you, brother. Cody, mostly Insta. Yeah. Yeah. Instagram has been phenomenal for my film career, for my screenwriting. I'm two of my screenplays have already been um, picked up by producers already in 2 months. I've been doing this. I've been doing TikTok since September, like the second week of September of 2025, and I've been posting on Instagram since like mid-November, and it just went off. It took off like fucking wildfire. Rusty, Insta. Thank you, brother. Richard, YouTube shorts and videos. Thank you so much, Richard. Cody, have you read the Eyes Wide Shut script? I have not. No. Make art. No, I found you on YouTube based on the Eyes Wide Shut algorithm. Love it. Love it, guys. Dr. Jones Fire, welcome in, dude. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. I have a 9 o'clock meeting now that I do have to jump to. Dr. Space Monkey, I've been following you from YouTube Shorts, which led you to the videos. Thank you. I have long form coming out every Monday and Friday. Every Monday, I have a new video on a movie that I love. Fight Club, There Will Be Blood, Empire Strikes Back. Devil's Advocate. I'm rotating new movies on Mondays. New movie Monday, right? Kind of new old movie Monday, and then Fridays I try to drop a Kubrick for the weekend. For the weekend watch. So Fridays I'm been doing a lot of Eyes Wide on Fridays, but now I have a couple Shining coming out. I have Danny's Sweater coming out. I just edited that this morning. I have Danny's sweater as Apollo the God, not Kubrick faking the moon landing. It's very possible he faked it, but I have him as Apollo the God and having the God Apollo's powers. And I have a short on that too on Instagram, but now I have long form coming out. Tomorrow, my video for There Will Be Blood is coming out, long form on YouTube. Richard says, "Love how you get straight to the point." That was my brother. I'm long winded. I love to talk, and my brother's like, "Don't bore us. Get to the chorus." Literally exactly what my bro said. He's like, "Don't bore us, get to the chorus." I'm having introductions, I'm having intros, like, "Nah, bro. It says fucking baby on the post office mailbox. Done." And then I just launch into it. Dr. Space Monkey, I recently took the deep dive into Eyes Wide Shut, and you have been a Sherpa of sorts. We appreciate you, Space Monkey. Thank you, brother. Really, truly, thank you. Cody Martin, bore us. Stay on the long form. My long form, I don't bore us. I get to the chorus in the long form, but the long form is my 3-minute Insta videos, my 3-minute YouTube shorts stretched out. Really, they're the videos. I try to keep them around 10 minutes. I'm trying to make them like 15, 20, but it's hard. It is hard. And a lot of people don't want to watch like long videos. I kind of want it to be like if you go to the bathroom for 10 minutes, you could watch my video. Does that make sense? Compositor, which are some old movies you'd like to analyze? Would you accept suggestions? 100% compositor. Cody, love them all. I don't know about I don't care if it's long or short. Yeah. I don't mind long videos. Abdafala, thank you so much for joining. Thank you guys. You guys are great. I loved tonight's live. This is the movie Michael's Movie Lounge. And we talk movies here. I run polls all night. I want to know what the greatest movies are of all time, right? This is important to me. Richard Ninth Gate covered, brother. Covered. Scroll down my page. I covered Ninth Gate. Sometimes YouTube doesn't pick it up. So you can go to my Instagram or my TikTok. All those videos are there. But sometimes YouTube is all copyrighted and shit. So I would say maybe 1 out of every 10 videos that I post on Insta, TikTok don't populate on YouTube. It just said it's a copyright issue. So I don't want to piss off the social media gods. So guys, I appreciate you. Super Liz Ann, your content. Thank you so much. The popcorn buckets. I have a little show on TikTok where I do movie battles on TikTok. And I'm gonna try and do one tonight if you guys want to follow me there. It's Movie Magic Michael on TikTok. But Super Liz Ann, thank you so much. Phenomenal live, guys. Fucking phenomenal. I had the best time with you guys. I try to be live every night at 7 p.m. That's my hour with you guys, if not longer. And this is the safe place for movie talk. But tomorrow I have a video coming out on YouTube. If you guys can like, follow, share, and subscribe. I have a video on Bowling for Oil for There Will Be Blood, my third favorite movie of all time. There Will Be Blood is my third favorite film of all time. Was my number one for a little bit. So I have a long form coming out 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, and it's how Daniel Plainview is the bowling ball. All right, and that's one of my long forms. And then this Friday, I have another Eyes Wide video coming out. Was Mandy pregnant? Was Mandy pregnant? I don't know. Got to wait and see. Guys, thank you for tonight. Thank you. This was a phenomenal chat. Love to each and every one of you. Thank you guys for watching. If you're watching this after the fact, this is going to be live on my channel under Michael's Movie Lounge Lives. So if you guys can follow, I'd appreciate it. I'm just getting started on YouTube. This is going to be great. Rusty, enjoyed watching and listening today. Rusty, appreciate you, man. Thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you guys. See you guys tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern.